Today, as I make chicken spaghetti in my Instant Pot, I'm going to be talking about the topic of, am I a homemaker? I'm going to give you some things to think about. I'm Rebekah with Learning Together by Grace, Homemaking God's Way. Are y'all ready? Let's go. So before I get started, these are some of the ingredients I'm going to be using. I'll have the link to the recipe on my blog, Learning Together by Grace, in the description below so that you are able to follow along with this recipe if this is something that you would like to make. You guys, I would suggest you make it because it is delicious. So as I chop up my onion, my garlic, and my bell pepper and mushrooms, we're going to dive into the topic, am I a homemaker? So, what defines a homemaker? That's the question to answer. So I'm going to give you two definitions here. The first one is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and it says, the meaning of homemaker is one who manages a household, especially as a spouse and parent. And then we have the Cambridge Dictionary, which defines a homemaker as a person who manages a home and often raises children instead of earning money from a job. So, these are two opposite ends of the spectrum. Now, before I continue, I'm just showing you the remainder of the ingredients that I am using in this chicken spaghetti. And now I'm going to get started with making it, starting with the saute function to saute those vegetables and chicken, and then we'll switch over to the slow cook function in a little bit. Now back to a homemaker. As you see, two different sides. One thing that I can say that God has blessed me with is the ability to take the good from both sides. Oftentimes we can get stuck on one way to the point to where we are totally and completely disregarding something else, and that can be just as good and just as reputable. Now, I've shared before that I worked for 3 years as a teacher, and I also did tutoring for a couple of years. 1 year was with the company, and then I had my own tutoring company for a year, and odd and end jobs. I was even an Avon lady, y'all. But that didn't last too long because I realized that I was purchasing more than what I was selling. But nonetheless, I've done it both ways. And I remember very starkly being a homemaker, even as a woman who was working outside of the home. I remember the burden that I felt as the mom, as the wife, to do homemaking and to manage my home. Now, this fell on me more so because my husband has always worked an hour to an hour and a half away. And especially when we had, our children were littler, like babies and toddlers, he worked about an hour and 20 minutes from home. And he would leave very early in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, which I'm sure a lot of spouses do. And, but there were some nights he wouldn't get home until 8:30, depending on the type of shift he was working. He worked 4-10s for a good while. And now his job is 3 days on, 3 days off. He is an hour from home, and he works 12-hour shifts and a lot of times overtime. So he's been working hard for our family. And in those hours and days and weeks and years and months that I was manning down the fort while he was at work, because again, he had to leave early, everything fell on me. A lot, I should say, fell on me. I don't like using absolute words. A lot fell on me. And so if he was leaving at 5 in the morning, I wasn't waking my children up at 5 in the morning, or he wasn't, to get them together. We did do things at night where he would bathe the children and things of that nature. But for the most part, once he got home, everything was done. Being a teacher, not saying that I didn't work hard, because Lord knows I worked very hard. But being a teacher, it afforded me the opportunity to be able to wake my children up a little bit after I woke up, get them together, drop them off at daycare or either school, and then me go to work. My son actually attended the same school that I worked at, two of the schools that I worked at. So it was just simpler in that regards. And that was a time in my life where I used my crock pot like it was nobody's business. And that was the beginning of me learning how to cook in a crock pot. And there were some not so great meals there. But nonetheless, I learned and I've grown since. But I relied on my crock pot a lot to make sure that we had home cooked meals. Or either I would go by Target on the way home, get us some soup, and I would have sandwiches, like make grilled cheese sandwiches or something of that nature. I also tidied up after we got home, and I did the homework with the children. I pretty much had them completely finished with everything by the time my husband got home, because he worked so late. And so the responsibility did fall on me, and I was the homemaker. During the weekends is when we would catch up on all the things, but my husband usually was outside doing the things outside of the home. And I was inside tending to the dishes, tending to the laundry. And so we were working as a team. And even though there were more responsibilities of me working inside of the home, I still know that my husband did his part, because there were things that I could not do and would not do. My husband has always worked on our vehicles because he is a mechanic by trade. When he was in the military, that's the work that he did. So he would do things of that nature. And so back to the other point, the other definition, I also can see how me being solely at home, taking care of my children, taking care of the home, defines me as a homemaker as well. And so during this season of my life, I'm homeschooling my children, and also I am getting them to wherever they need to go. They take keyboard lessons, they take guitar, they do a co-op class, and in classes, I should say, in co-op, they have theater, they have dancing, they have choir. There's a lot that they have going on, and I'm the one that takes them to and from, because again, my husband is often at work. On the days that he does have off, because it is 3 days off, 3 days on the rare days that he's off when maybe I have things to do, he sometimes will step in and do those things. But I teach classes at co-op, so I'm automatically there, and then I just picked up keyboarding. But if we review those definitions again, which one are you? Are you the Merriam-Webster dictionary homemaker, meaning one who manages a household, especially as a spouse and parent? Or are you the Cambridge Dictionary, a person who manages a home and often raises children instead of earning money from a job? Which one are you? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. And I want to encourage those mamas out there that are working. You are a homemaker because you care for your children, and you care for your spouse, and you care for your home. You are a homemaker. And I don't want there to be a divide between who's a homemaker and who's not a homemaker based off of if you work or don't work. We all put in hard work, whether it's working outside of the home or working in the home. Some days I feel like I work more because I'm home all the time. It was a little simpler because the house stayed cleaner when everyone wasn't there, but we live at home. And so it can be more sometimes to try to keep everything tidy, especially because we homeschool. But with all of that being said, mamas, I want to encourage you out there. We are out here doing the best that we can do, and we're learning. And I want to build up the woman in you, and I want you to know that you are doing a great job as a homemaker. Don't be discouraged or dismayed by what others are saying and trying to define you as. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the finished results of that chicken spaghetti. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share so people know what we're doing over here. Hit that notification bell so that you know when I post another video. You guys, God bless and take care.